Welcome into the object of the game. I'm Maureen Kyle with Coach Chuck Kyle. And even though it's not football weather, as we're sitting here today recording, it does kind of feel like football weather. We're going to be talking to Mike Tomon. So Mike Tomon, I knew him in high school. He played for St. Ignatius, good family friend as well. Just got this huge promotion to become team president of the Houston Texans. And there's a lot of connections there too in the front office, executive office, within the staff. A lot of Northeast Ohio connections, specifically John Carroll, which is great.
Yeah.
I know you might be watching, maybe you're a JCU grad, but it's just a fascinating position to hold. And so we're going to talk to him about how he got there and what led him to that spot. He's also father of two, parenting through sports with this very unique perspective of how he's seeing the professional level, then he's going and sitting on the sidelines and helping to coach his kids and parent his kids through sports. But again, it's fun. We're going to talk to him about like all those people he knows that are from this area. And I think we also have to ask him because the Texans are in the middle of a stadium renovation involving a dome. We're going to pick his brain on what that means for what the Browns are planning on doing.
They've had a dome. The weather affects you.
Well, we're going to get into all of it. You're going to love this conversation today. And I have to say a big thank you to Infinity of Beechwood and Akron. Discover the new Infinity to match your lifestyle. The knowledgeable team there, they are great. They are incredible. They're going to make every step of the way seamless. From the time you walk in through those doors, you take a test drive, to the time you find your perfect Infinity to drive off the lot. You can visit today, experience the difference. It is luxury redefined. When we come back, like I promised, we are going to have more with our very special guest today, Mike Tomon. Welcome back. Thanks for watching The Object of the Game. And as you just heard us talking about, Ohio has so many football connections across the country. And we like to think that, every city you go into, you can find that, especially Cleveland connection, and how Ohio is just a big football powerhouse. And Dad, we both know our guest today personally, but if you want to introduce Mike Tomon for us here.
Well, it'd be an honor. Mike, I'm not going to say what year, then we start getting on how old is he and all that. I don't want anything. Mike played for the Wildcats a number of years ago, a really very, very fine team. He went on to play at Georgetown, fine, reputable Jesuit college, but playing in the Patriot League, which I don't think a lot of people realize. That's a good league, I always thought. It's a great, there's Fordham, Holy Cross, Bucknell, like on and on, Kilgate. It's a fun league. But then, it someday you have to put the helmet away, right? It's done. You cannot go any further in the area of football. But you went on to be involved in sports on another level, and it has just skyrocketed for you and in what you've done. He was actually you were with the Cavaliers, right? A little bit?
I was.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to interrupt you though. I love these.
Yeah.
I'm like confidence affirming here.
Showing my
the intros. So you keep going, Coach.
Showing my research to some degree. But yeah, because really I can remember you being with the Cavs and so on. And of course, I think you were some of the years where LeBron James left, weren't you?
True.
Yeah.
True.
That had to be tough.
I like to say I was actually there twice.
Okay.
I was part of the reason I like to say that we got LeBron when we were winning 17 games a year, and then was there when he was there, and then when he left as well. So yes,
that was hopefully the Cavs are going to make it happen.
They're having a great season.
They're having a great season. But anyway, back to you. Then you went into some. I'm going to go right to you were in the Legends Hospitality. Right, which is a bunch. You helped that blossom into a major corporation. Could you explain that one? People may not, but it's all over the. You're internationally with that.
That is true, and really excited to share. I mean, but before we go any further, one, thank you for having me.
Well,
And so great to see you both, certainly in this environment. And as soon as I had heard, speaking with Coach, there was an opportunity to come talk, and it was like, speak with you about Cleveland
Yeah.
and football. It's like, sign me up. Can I do that all week long? So thank you very much. But yeah, no, Legends, really, really fortunate run. We started as a joint venture between the Cowboys and Yankees, that really focused in on being third-party services for sports franchises, or really just overall in the sports and entertainment. And it grew into a global company. I was there for 11 years, and it was a great run. It was a great marriage between the entrepreneurial spirit and having a great cap table, having a great ownership group. So very fun on that part.
all right. Well, I think you established a pretty good reputation with that through that company, with the growth of that company, because here comes the Houston Texans, and oh my, hey, why don't you become one of the presidents here? Oh, okay, that's offered to you. That's amazing.
That's
That is
incredible.
amazing.
I feel very fortunate. It was a great process. Had been at Legends for 11 years, was really excited, and candidly fulfilled on what the growth had been and where the business was going. But had been reached out about this opportunity, and it was one that you pause on. I think anytime the NFL calls, you're definitely gonna pause.
I would think so.
And yeah, that's
Why
good.
not?
And obviously football being such a big part of my life and such a passion, I was really excited to learn more about the opportunity. And I think as I got into the opportunity, I really looked at it first from the league. Being at Legends and my previous lives in the NBA, had a chance to see a number of different leagues throughout the world, how they operate and how they go about things. At the end of the day, the NFL is the largest revenue grossing league by far. It's not even close globally. And you think about our concentration is the States, and still globally, it leads on the revenue side. So the health of the business, the health of the league, ultimately where it's going, those were all really attractive pieces. But, then I just started drilling down. I went down from the league, and it's like, okay, well, who are the owners? I think, being in the business now for almost 25 years, you look and you appreciate ownership, leadership, ownership, those things matter. And I had a chance to really get to know the McNairs, Cal and Hannah, and really how they approach the world, how they think about their home city of Houston, how they think about the Texans' role in it, and candidly, their aspirations. They have very big aspirations. So it was like 2 checks. Those are 2 great things.
Sounds good. Good
And then just
environment.
went into the actual city itself. Houston, great city. You look at all the metrics, it's growing, it's pointed in the right direction. And candidly, it's this huge city, but it doesn't act like a huge city.
No.
It really, speaking with my wife, Lauren, it really reminded us of Cleveland and Ohio. Very warm people, love their football. There were a lot of very attractive pieces to it. And then, of course, the team on the field is in a great spot. You have D'Amico and his culture and what he brings to the table and how he has the guys playing. And certainly, I'm sure we'll talk about this. Our GM, Nick, he's a Cleveland guy. He's from Northeast Ohio. He's a John Carroll guy. So, he has to be good. So those things all lined up. And it was an exciting thing to jump into.
Yeah,
I gotta ask, did you ever picture yourself in this job? And then, I mean, we've got a little bit of what this job entails, but did you ever dream about this? And then explain exactly what you're doing.
Yeah, I think, when you, as Coach was saying, at some point you realize you're gonna have to take the helmet off, and so you start looking at life and saying, okay, well, where can I go with all this energy and this passion? Like where does that line up? And was able to find, and at times I'd say Forrest Gump, Forrest Gump my way, but was able to really find the sports business. And there were so many different aspects of it.
Right.
But starting the career, you always look and you're like, gosh, wouldn't it be a special situation to run an NFL franchise? And so, as team president, my focus is the business operations. And so when you look at the organization, really everything from a business perspective is ultimately in my remit. And working closely with football is talk with Nick and coach. Football leads. We want to be authentic to our brand, to the community, and make sure we're a great conduit on that side.
The NFL has done an amazing job of making NFL football interesting 12 months out of the year. I
Dominant.
mean, it's just constantly, there's something about the NFL. The draft is coming up. After that, free agency things are happening. And then pretty soon there's going to be, they'll start practicing or bringing the rookies in. Unbelievable. They make it 12 months out of the year. So you can't take a vacation, young man. You can't.
No, it's funny. There is no off season. That is a question you get a lot. You get to take the off season off.
Yeah.
My wife and kids have been with me this whole time. Well, my wife has throughout this whole career, and we find our spots, but there's not your traditional off time.
Right.
We already kind of talked about, you playing for Georgetown. Obviously, you played for Ignatius. And we want to talk about, we're going to take a quick break. But when we come back, those life lessons that you learned while playing sports that are helping you now in these administrative positions, in these leadership positions. And we got to help all of the parents out there who are now guiding their kids through some of the youth sports. We want them to look at somebody like Mike and be like, okay, all right, my kid's going to be successful. I'm paying for these lessons for a reason. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, more with Mike Tomon. Welcome back to the Object of the Game. If you're just joining us, our very special guest today is Mike Tomon, new team president for the Houston Texans. And of course, somebody we've known for a long time. Mike and I were not too far apart in high school, and then played for Dad. You know what, Mike? During the show, I know that maybe you're new to this. I call him Dad. I can't sit here and call him Coach.
It's okay.
I know.
People would think it's weird if you don't call me Dad.
Dad, what do you think? But anyway, we mentioned it a couple of times an episode that the philosophy that the field, whatever field your child is playing on, is the classroom. What type of life lessons have you learned growing up playing sports? So we always like to delve into your background in playing sports and how that's translated to where you are today. So when did you start? I like to say back when we were young. I mean, it was so different. It wasn't starting at age 6 the way my 6-year-old is now starting several sports. But when did you start playing sports, and what sports were those?
When I was younger, I played everything. You just played everything that came your way.
Good.
It depended on what was going out on in the street or your driveway or the backyard. It's like playing football, great, we're playing football. You playing kickball, great, we're playing kickball. Right. Soccer, basketball, baseball, all of it. And I think as you go through that experience, you learn to find what you really love and what you gravitate towards. And I certainly started to gravitate towards football. But the first time I played tackle wasn't until 8th grade. Played tackle in 8th grade, and then went to Ignatius and played through there. And that's obviously where I got to meet your dad, my coach. And then through college, so when in high school, as the leaders, the listeners may know, you play football, you also run track. So I did that. But it was one of those things where anything that helped me get better at my goal, because I just fell in love with football, I was like, great, sign me up. I'm in for it. And the fact that it just happened to be in the athletic realm was a plus.
Yeah. Those younger years, you just what you just explained seems to be coming again and again with guests we have. Those younger days, you sampled. Yeah, you play everything. Yeah, this is fun. Let's play this week. Hey, it's basketball season. Let's play. But then, you start really, there's a point where you start investing a little bit. This is the sport I hang my hat on. This is where I feel comfortable. And I welcome getting better. I'm going to do things to get me better. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't care what career you're going into. Trying to work to get better. I mean, you're the young president. You're going to work to get better. I mean, let's face it. That's a theme.
Yeah, I think that is a really important theme. I will even emphasize kind of where you started that sentence or that topic. It's finding what you like more first. Like as I have a chance to talk to a lot of folks who are interested in becoming sports executives or getting into sports in some form or fashion, they're like, well, how do I just want to get my foot in the door? And I know that's a school of thought. I actually, my recommendation is always find what you love first. Like outside of like the glamour of sports, like find what you're passionate about. Passion for your craft. Is that reading? Is that writing? Is that math? Is that marketing? Is it what is your passion for? What craft are you passionate about? And once you find that, then it's easy to get better at it because you want to. It's not like, oh, I have to do it. Sure, it's just easy. It's like I love what I do, and I'll love it more if I'm better at it. And so it's easy to go after all the other things that help support it.
So then playing in high school, then playing college level, and now sitting in the seat you're sitting in as we speak. What is it that you just said, like find what you love? What was it that you loved about football that is now translating to being executive level?
I mean, how long do we have? How long is this show?
Hey, we got time. You go ahead.
I don't know what drew me to it in the very beginning. The competitive side of it, I just loved it as a kid. It's kind of like in you, and you were attracted to it. Like bugs to light. I'm not sure what that was. I'm comparing myself to a bug here, but I think as I got into the sport, and I loved the idea of being on a team. I loved a team goal. I also love that you had to be responsible. You had to figure out how you contributed individually to a greater good. You looked at it from your individual lens and then your team lens and then the overall goal. And I really enjoyed that. And I think, when I had a chance to really start playing in high school, there are things about in college, there are things about adversity that you learn that you start to gain confidence of. And I don't, Marina, I wouldn't have gone at that point and back in high school and said, I love adversity, but looking back on it and seeing, what that does for you to go through adversity individually as a team, how you come through it and get on the other side. Those are one of the real value points that I think I didn't know I loved at that point, but looking back at it, I really love.
Right there, those couple minutes right there of what you're talking about, every kid should hear that.
Yeah.
Because that tells you not just, hey, you're talking about football, you're talking about sports. Some kid that's in drama, let's say, but really goes to that level of really getting into it and enjoying it. That opens up doors later on too. You got to find that's what you should talk about there is every kid should hear this, hear what you're saying. I mean, you're young, honestly, and you're a president of an NFL football team. Kids, take a look what can happen if you find what you love doing and you have that work ethic that you're talking about and enjoy it. I think there's a formula here. I really do.
Mike, since you mentioned adversity and you started off also talking competition, so maybe the example will be somewhere in between there. But is there a time that you look back that even in your professional life, you think back to when you were in high school, or maybe it was even earlier, or maybe it was college years, that you got taught like a kick in the pants type of lesson that really helped you accelerate to the next level?
Yeah. What's this rated? No, I
just I don't know. This is, since it's digital, you can swear all you want. Yeah.
Okay. My mom's listening. I won't do that.
No, please
but
don't.
I think there's two instances that come to mind. One, there was a humility play. It's interesting. Sports can build your confidence, which is really important. I think self confidence is one of the most important aspects you can have in a whole person, especially as you attack your career. Um, Period. Next sentence. Humility is as well.
Mhm.
And I think that was one of the things that I learned from our strength coach at Ignatius at that point, Marty Einen. I think I may have ran too quickly and or skipped the warm-up lap. And when I was going down to lift, pulled me aside and I'll paraphrase here, but he was just kind of like, hey, by the way, we don't need you. We're going to be just fine without you. So if you don't think you have to run like the rest of the team, you can sit out on the side. And I was like, oh my gosh. And so he was like, but you can go out to the next practice, which by the way, was just shells the next practice. So it was just our helmet and our shoulder pads. It's like, you can go out in full pads and you can run 2 laps. And that there was a dose of humility there. There was a dose of like, and that stayed with me, which was you should contribute. You should be confident in what you do. Always remember the team. Like, remember the reason that you're on the field is, it's not one person.
Mhm.
It is for a larger team. That's one side,
Mhm.
Maureen. Here's the other side that I'd like everyone else to know, that I think has greatly impacted my career, which I share with my kids. I actually just shared with some of our team members here at the Texans. There was a coach / English teacher who always used to speak about the human spirit. And he would just say, the human spirit is capable of anything. Like, you can be great at sports, you can be great at school, you can be great at family, you can be great at your relationship with God, you can be great at all those things. And I will tell you, that to me, one, has always stuck with me. But 2, when you look at your career doing well in something, sometimes you limit yourself because you're like so singular focused, like I can only be great at this and everything else is a distraction. Just the reminder that you can be great at all of it. That is, you've been given that opportunity to be great at all of it. And that is something that if I had to edit this whole down,
Mhm.
that would be one of the things, or the one thing that I think certainly has been most impactful to me in my career, and certainly would want all the youth to hear as they think about their next steps.
That English teacher coach, yeah.
Yeah,
I have to
have
meet
him
that
on.
guy.
Shakespeare.
I gotta meet him.
For those following at home, this is Coach Kyle I'm referencing.
Yeah, right. Don't worry, we're going to have a quote later too.
Yeah, we'll have a Shakespeare quote.
But you know what? I like that you said that, because mid-career pivots, people are so afraid of making a change, and we're all seeing industries change in such incredible ways, especially with AI. Just there's a shift happening, and people are, around our age, Mike, going, well, I've only done this one thing my whole life. I don't know, this is what I do. But to realize that you're good at so many other things and to continue to develop those other skills, I think that's great advice for not just young people, but kids coming out of college. Producer Pat, I hope you're listening. Any age needs to hear that reminder that you can't just focus in and be only good at one thing, and gone are those days where you stay in one place forever and ever and ever, and that's what you're good at. You screw in these widgets, and then you're on the factory line, and that's it. I mean, this is a great conversation for everybody to take in, internalize it, and go, oh yeah, is that me? Am I doing that somewhere in my life?
Yeah, you gotta look in the mirror and believe in that person that you see.
Mm.
You better believe in that person. And there's going to be things that change the course of your life, or what the ability to look in the mirror and go, come on, you have the talent, you have the desire, you have the ability to work with people. You can adapt.
Mm-hmm.
You can adjust. You can't lose faith in that. Can't. That's the way world works nowadays.
Mm-hmm. Mike, one of the other things I want to talk to you about too, we're going to take a quick break, but parenting. And what you said about having kids have that adversity is something our previous guest, we had Charles Bentley on here. He and I talked about that too. We make it too easy for our kids. We don't want them to struggle. We don't want them to go through adversity. But I'm really interested in picking your brain about being, uh, I mean, NFL executive here, and then also having to sit on the sidelines and be that parent who's watching your kids play. I wanted to hear about that experience, but we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with Mike Tomon. Welcome back. We are getting some really great insight from Houston, Texas team president Mike Tomon. Now, Mike, we were just talking about the lessons that you learned playing sports, then becoming an NFL executive, but you're also dad on the sidelines most weekends. I was just saying in the commercial break, I'm just starting to get into this club sports madness, the driving and the sitting at tournaments all weekend. But what is that like to be working at such an upper level and seeing how, like hard work can pay off for that less than 1%, but then also having to parent through youth sports?
Yeah, no, hey, it is a great question. I think I think you teed it up so accurately, and I'll just highlight a couple pieces that you said. Going backwards, 1%, and depending the sport and the position, maybe less, or the population, you're taking out 1%. 1% make it to the pros. And so, like, if every parent knew that on the sideline, it's 1%. 100% is the other thing that I would say. 100% of those who engage in athletics can benefit from it. 100%. So you have 1% that go pro, but 100% can benefit from it. And I say this jokingly, but kind of serious. Parents ruin youth sports. Yeah. They just find a way to ruin it. They're going to put so much pressure. They're going to miss the point. They're going to take all the great things for that 100%. You have this opportunity of 100% can benefit. And parents, I'm speaking to you because I'm kind of speaking about, you can ruin it. Like, just stay out of the way. Be there to listen and support, but just stay out of the way for the most part. Now, I don't mean that totally, but it is a good little reminder when you're on the sideline and you see someone losing their mind because they think they're missing their chance to go pro, you have to recalibrate. It's my favorite time to be with my kids, period. Next sentence, it's my favorite time to be with them in sports and being able to be empathetic, give guidance at the right times, but most importantly, enjoy it and help them enjoy it is really kind of our headspace between my wife and I.
Having fun and making sure that your kids are having fun with sports. And as you're talking to, I don't know how much you interact with these players and hearing stories, I'm sure you hear enough stories. You got to kind of get the sense that they loved the sport. They had fun playing the sport. It wasn't a job like you talked about before. It wasn't a chore. It was making sure that you're instilling that this is something fun to do. It's sports. Do you have that quality time and that quality talk with your kids even after a bad soccer game or maybe during a moment where maybe they have had some adversity?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think, just as we spoke earlier, we encourage them to play everything. Like, even if they have the smallest inkling, it was like, great, good, go. And they started to, they start to select themselves like, hey, they really gravitate towards one thing. And once they started gravitating towards it, then it's like, great, let's spend more time on it, with the idea of like, the more time you spend on it, the more you'll probably enjoy it. So that happens. But along the way, Maureen, just to your question, you're going to lose a game. You're going to have a bad experience. Practice isn't going to go well. That's part of it. Right. And the conversation we always have is, you don't have to play this sport. Like, if you want to get to the end of the season and you're not enjoying it, mom and dad are extremely happy for you to do whatever makes you happy. And if it's not making you happy, great. We're going to go do something else. What you cannot do is quit. Right. So you're going to finish this game. You're going to finish this season. We're going to finish that. And then at the end of it, we can have the talk. And generally what happens, I mean, every time what happens, not generally, has been that was a bump in the road. That was a moment. They got through it. They fought through it. And then, sometimes as soon as the next morning, it's like, back to my first love. I want to go play whatever the sport is. Yeah. But I think that's been key for sure.
Yeah, the idea that, first of all, you were saying, there's a point where kids are going to, everybody are going to invest time, invest, for money for equipment because that they're at that level. But as they're doing that, the other kids are good too, and they practice too. And you know how, I mean, the soccer, the ball hits, you're injured too often, it hits the pole and doesn't go in. Oh, well, learn from that. Just learn from it. And Mike, you can remember, I think I always said, after you lose a game, you got 24 hours. Yeah, you're going to feel bad. Go ahead. That's all right to feel kind of, but that's it, though. 24 is done. Here we go. Because it's what do we learn from it, and let's go. And that's how you get better. How can you enjoy winning if you don't know what losing is? I don't see how. I don't see how you know.
Coach, I stole that from you in some of my youth. I did a lot of youth coaching for my kids. And my son's flag football team, we lost in the championship game to go to the, to go off site. And I stole it from you. I think I steal a lot of, this is like confession for me. I think I steal a lot of things from you. And I did. I was like, hey, boys, we're going to soak in this. I'm not going to talk a ton about it right now. Today, we're going to soak in it. Tomorrow, we'll get back at it. Right. But today, soak in the loss.
I mean, that's how you get better. Because you're going to look, like the young kid has to go, I could have made that play. I could have made that, and I didn't make it. Well, learn from that and make it next week, huh? When we play, make it next week. And that's how you get better. If you can't appreciate losing, how do you appreciate winning? Or it becomes not that exciting to win. No, right. Winning is an earned blessing. It is an earned blessing. You earn it, and it's not always going to happen, especially the game you're a president of. That ball has edges. I keep telling people, who came up with that? Some guy who threw the ball. Screwed us all up because it bounces crazy, right? Oh.
Well, we want to also talk to you more about like what you have plans for when it comes to the Houston Texans. I want to even pick your brain. Like, what if you were back here in Cleveland?
Oh,
I know we're going to put you in a hot seat.
Wow.
So we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the object of the game. If you've been with us, you know our guest today is Mike Tomon. He is Houston Texans team president, 60 days into the job as we're sitting here today. Northeast Ohio native, like so many people with the Houston Texans. Mike, did you have Coach Kyle for English class? Did you mention that? You had him for English too?
I did.
Okay.
Coach, I can't remember what year it was.
Did you
somewhere? It had to be somewhere in the 2000s.
If it were not Chaucer and Shakespeare, it would have been sophomore year.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
Well,
I think I had Chaucer. Not I think. I know I had
Chaucer.
Chaucer. So was that senior year?
There you go. Senior year, big guy.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
But you're going to love this next segment. We're going back to English class to wrap up this show. We'll be right back. Thanks for being with us here with the object of the game. And it is our final segment. If you are familiar with the show, this is when we basically go back to English class. This is where you get to flex your English class muscles here, Dad, with the vocab word and with quote. And Mike Tomon, a graduate of St. Ignatius High School, might remember some of these lessons. But did you send him the list of possible vocab words?
Yes. Let's start with that.
Okay.
Okay. Now I just have this long list of themes. To be honest with you, I always thought about a pregame talk or whatever, chapel talk. I'd always have, what theme do I want to use this week? It would fit this week, and that's I had one word in mind, and I talked about it. Right, that's about what happened, and that's why I thought, football. We're saying is that field is educational, and so I sent you the list, and come on, one or two of those words had to catch your eye.
Absolutely. I mean, there were a couple. Really, there were two in particular: work ethic and tolerance, and. Work ethic to me, it is the best part that you learn from the sport and that you can apply in the business world. I think there's a author named Malcolm Gladwell. He has a book called The Outliers. That's really about, kind of dissecting success. And he has this chapter called 10,000 Hours, which I think it illustrates. Basically, it takes 10,000 hours of work to establish mastery over something. And what that means is like everybody can work. Like no one's going to stop you from working. Like no one is going to stop. You will stop yourself. And I love that. Like you control your own destiny in essence of just how much effort you want to put in. And I always tell this to I'm not going to say younger, but entry level folks who start in the business. You're a negative on the balance sheet right now. You like there's a better chance you are going to hurt our brand on some interaction because you're not informed than actually help it. The best part though is that as you approach the work and you continue to get better at it, and you can get better at it at your own pace, you will be the biggest asset the company has.
Nice.
You will grow into that. And it's just about how much effort and how much time you put into it will depend on when you get to that finish line of when are you truly one of the best assets of the business. So, and I think that's just all work ethic. And you learn that in sports. You just learn that on how to be diligent and time put in.
Yeah.
If I could, coach, I'd give you my tolerance.
Sure.
In sports, and I think in life, it's important to have a tolerance for ambiguity. Jerry Jones Sr. would talk about that a lot when I was at Legends, as they were part owner. The tolerance for ambiguity. Sometimes we get so like, I need to know black and white. Like, is this the path or is this the path? Or is this the answer or is it? Sometimes it's not. Sometimes the best answer is not available at that moment, but it will be. And if you can be comfortable in that position, waiting for your opportunity and not committing to something less great just because you're like, I need to commit, that can make all the difference in the world. And so when I saw work ethic and when I saw tolerance, I went right for tolerance for ambiguity is two words that jumped out to me.
I love that.
Yeah. Young kids have to realize patience, it's going to take time. It doesn't just happen. You got to, some things are, somebody's going to rub you the wrong way. You got to tolerate this thing, work through it. And that's life. That's life.
Yeah. Have confidence. The right answer will be there. It just might not be showing itself at that very moment.
It's a great reminder for everyone, kids, adults, everything. I love that.
Yeah.
All
a
right.
lot of people don't have much patience nowadays.
No, nobody has
face
patience.
it,
No, we don't live in that type of society.
we don't.
All right, we have a quote.
Yes. Oh, yes. Hey, all right. Now, here you are going into this new experience, and you're going with excitement about it, as everybody today has seen, right? All right, let's bring on this challenge, Now, this is from the play The Tempest. Now, I have to say, it's considered a romance, but that's a literal romance. Yes, there's a love thing.
Yeah.
But literary romance is like, can I use the Arthurian legends? You're going to have, bravery and challenge, and it's something like that. And technically, I don't mean to go all Shakespeare, but technically, what they believe is this is really the last play that Shakespeare wrote by himself. There's two more plays. It's towards the end of his career. Two more plays where somebody named Fletcher was kind of helping him, and you can tell it's different. Anyway, I didn't mean to get into a Shakespeare lecture there, but this is Act 5. This is it. Everybody's good. Happy ending. And this is stated. Oh, brave new world that has such people in it. Mike, you are in this amazing world now, right? The NFL. Oh my God. And there are some amazing people that you're going to be rubbing elbows with constantly now, right? And just enjoy it, okay? You got to enjoy this. You got to enjoy it. It's going to make you better and make the Texans better too. And you've heard Brave New World. There was a book, Brave New World. It came from Shakespeare.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it came from Shakespeare. But
that was excellent. I'm going to take that.
It's just, in the end, it's the people that you're with, right? It's that's what this quote says. It's just a wonderful world with the people that are in it. That's what you're saying. You love the owners. They're good to work for. There
They
you
are.
go. Makes a
They are.
difference.
We're going to have to get you
Thanks.
that quote to put on the wall in your new office.
I
Because it
want
goes
that.
back to what you were talking about with culture too, as one of your goals. The people that you're with. So there you go. And then people are gonna come in and go, Mike, what is this? And you're gonna be like, well, this is Shakespeare,
This
and
is Shakespeare.
this might be the last play that he wrote by
Yes,
himself.
It was. And Act 5, Scene 1. As soon as you say Act 5, Scene 1, it's like you know it by heart.
I Coach, always profound, and Maureen, thank you for giving me just a practical use, because I will, whoever I am able to just rip those facts off to,
Right.
I feel like I will have a different standing in that meeting than I would otherwise.
Right? I know. Mike, it's been so great to talk to you. We know you're busy. You've taken so much of your
Yes.
time to talk with
Thank you
us.
for your time. We do.
We appreciate it. We're so happy for you. When you got
Yes.
this job, just know that the whole Kyle family was so excited for you and
Thank you so much.
excited to see where this goes. And now we have a big reason. If we didn't before, we have a big reason to also cheer for the Texans.
That's right.
So,
Right. Open invite, come to Houston.
Oh, man.
Oh, man, you'll see
and
us.
I appreciate the Cleveland Browns, of course. Just think about the Houston Texans.
Right.
All right.
We'll steal you away one day.
All
We'll
right.
come to the Houston Texans games in disguise.
Yeah, we'll come down there.
So
We'll
nobody
come,
will realize we're Browns fans.
we'll come down there with your mom. We'll help babysit.
Oh my
I'm getting
gosh.
good at that. I really am. I'm really getting good at it.
You know what? We could do it at the stadium. We got
There
a
we
whole
go.
babysitting thing at the stadium.
Yeah.
It'll be
Perfect.
great.
Good.
All right.
Good. Mike, thank you again. And
Thank you, guys.
we'll have to talk to you again as you go through this journey. We appreciate
Thank you
it.
so much.
Thanks again to Mike Tomon, team president for the Houston Texans, Cleveland native. It was great catching up with him. And thanks to all of you for tuning in to The Object of the Game. For Chuck Kyle, I'm Maureen Kyle. You can catch all of the episodes on all of the Big Play Network's social media platforms. Also, you can download the free app. Hopefully you're watching the show on the free app right now, but if you're not, you can download it. It's available for iOS and Apple. Thanks again. We'll see you here next week.